Hi, welcome back to Fast Forward to the Future podcast. In today's episode, we had the honor of interviewing Maria Manuela Catrina, the Deputy Director of the National Cybersecurity Directory. We talked about cybersecurity and how intertwined it is in our day-to-day lives. Hope you enjoy. Hi, Miss Catrina. Thank you so much for coming to my podcast. It's really nice meeting you and
Thank
talking
you for
to you about this.
inviting me here. It's a lovely place to be, and you are so young and energetic. I love it. So I'm feeling honored to be back.
I'm glad. So, for starters, could you please tell us more about cybersecurity?
Actually, I think now everybody hears about cybersecurity. There are a lot of people speaking about cybersecurity without knowing what cybersecurity is, but anyway, it happens in other fields too. So everybody is a specialist, especially in Romania in football, politics, and now security and cybersecurity. So it depends on the. But it's good to speak about cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Since 2 years, we have in Romania a new institution that is called the National Cybersecurity Directory. That does a lot of technical things. It's an institution in charge with the civil cyberspace, defending the civil cyberspace, but we also do a lot of education, awareness, trainings. So you'll see our colleagues a lot on social media, a lot online. We met in an event that you were organizing together with Google, I think.
Yeah.
So we are in a school. So we are also a lot in schools, in universities. We work with the cybersecurity masters. So in the end, we also do a lot of collaboration, nationally, internationally, with companies. Because I think one rule about cybersecurity is that nobody can be cybersecure on its own. We have to do it together. That means a heavy part of the things that we do is awareness and education, telling the people what they can do, telling you, young guys, what you can do in order to feel more cybersecure, so you can teach your parents, because usually they don't know it. And also because 90% of the bad things that happen can be done doing normal things. So we are happy if you do the 90%, so you only have done the 10 technical hard heavy lifting to do. Otherwise, we have to do everything, and most of the things we cannot prevent. So it will be one or the other affected for a cyber attack. We care for the big institution, but not necessarily we cannot do it for every citizen. It's at some point we are like the police, you know. If you don't lock your door, and then you realize, oh, you didn't protect my house. Okay, we'll find the criminal, but
yeah, it's your job to lock your door.
Your house is empty. So in cyber, it's more or less the same. So we have to protect our own assets.
Yeah, that's really important. So what advice would you give for the regular citizen that doesn't have anything to do with cybersecurity, doesn't know the, I guess, heavy lifting that you mentioned, like coding? What can they do to protect themselves? Like
first of all, to behave in an online environment as they behave in an offline environment. So it's nothing that you wouldn't do offline, you shouldn't do online. When somebody asks you offline where you live or what's your house number, you are taught as a kid when you are 5, 6, 7 that you shouldn't tell that to a stranger.
Yeah.
Or who's at home. This is what you should do also online. Give as less data possible. If they ask for your data to register in a game, on a website and so on. So not always give the real data, because not always I need the real data. Be careful with what you do online. Use two-factor authentication. I know it's annoying. It takes a lot of time. You like the easy way, but most of the time what's easy is mostly also the most dangerous.
Yeah.
If it's too good to be true, then it's too good to be true, and then it's not true. Like if you see an ad, I don't know, get a free ticket for a concert, click here. There is nothing free in this life, so usually you shouldn't click. The worst, the easiest things that it's happening is they have your data. But it can be much more than this. Protect your devices. Have as much as possible. I would advise everybody to have an antivirus on their phone, because phone you use most.
Yeah.
There are a lot of free antivirus that you can use. As students, you definitely have also access to cheaper things. Don't click on any app. Just download it because some friend showed it to you. There are a lot of basic things. I think it's not nothing spectacular. It's just taking care of your hygiene. And if you see something odd, something unusual, something fearful, something aggressive, talk to a friend, talk to your parents, talk to your teachers. Don't try to fix it on your own, because most of the time it happens like that you couldn't, and it gets even worse. So just if you see something different, just speak about it.
Yeah, it's great to hear that the measures that a normal person can take are
Yes.
that easy. It's nothing over the top.
It's nothing over the top. You don't need to be an expert in coding to know how to do it. I mean, it's also about you. Don't share your card data or this type of things. And I think it's the heavy lifting is on you. It's your generation to have to do it, because your parents or your grandparents didn't learn that in school. They have no clue. And they are also very endangered. When somebody calls you and asks you for your data and says, I'm from the, I don't know, I'm from the school, let's say, so, or for the electricity company. Why on earth would they need the data? They will have it.
Yeah.
Just use common sense. Why? or there was an accident, somebody was hit and they need money. This type of scams. Close the phone, get out, report a number, block.
Yeah, that's great to hear. You know, there are common scams that it's our job to kind of, you know.
Yes. Use your common sense.
Yeah,
you are smart. So if it feels wrong, it's wrong.
Yeah. You also mentioned schools a couple of times, and I've read an article recently that almost 21% of kids aged 9 to 12 years old have experienced some sort of cyber attacks, cyber bullying. So I'm just wondering, do you think that, you know, schools should put more emphasis on a safer internet, or like teach some courses on how to be safe on the internet?
I think even the percentage is higher than you mentioned, because most of the cases are not reported. So we have also silent bullying, silent incident. I saw a lot of statistics over the years. Unfortunately, it doesn't get better. It gets worse because we are more and more exposed to this environment. I think we have to teach it in schools and in kindergarten as fast as possible. I'm quite happy to see that starting this year, you have a new competence in the new education law that is cybersecurity. And we are very, very fond that our colleagues from the Ministry of Education understand our request to have it there. We are working to have a curricula, to have it, I suppose, not only in the IT or ITC, or how it's called now, classes, but also it's a normal subject to discuss with your professors in a different environment. You could also, we have a website, it's called Siguranza Online, where you can find a lot of resources. It's a lot of tests that you can take alone. It's a lot of tests that you can take with your parents. There are also booklets with cartoons that you can take down and discuss. Each page is a situation. What happens when you are harassed? What is happening when your account is stolen? And what you do? It's rather an invitation to discuss these issues, because if you never discussed it before, you don't know what to do when you get into contact with it. So there are other resources too. I know a lot of other companies have educational resources. We try to put them together in a, let's say, the platforms to share these resources with everybody. But I think if you are in a school, if you are a young a student, and you want to know about cybersecurity, easy search on Google will give you the open library of possibilities. So some of them are more professional, some of them are really easy to do. So schools, yes. Since kindergarten, I think we teach kids how to wash your hands, and now in the pandemic we learned how important it was to know how to wash your hands. So we should teach kids also how to be safe online.
Yeah, especially from such a young age, because I think kids nowadays have phones from like 7 years.
They have games.
Yeah.
They have PlayStations when they are 5. Come on, in this gaming environment, there's also a lot of dangers. I mean, it's not the subject of this podcast, I suppose, but it's something that happens. Some of the harassment, some of the things that we spoke before happens in this game chats.
Yeah, that's wild to even imagine.
And you don't know if you play with your colleague that is also 12 or 15 or 17, or with some old guy that has some sick mind, and you don't know if it's a real person or not, and if it's a genuine person or just an idiot trying to use this environment
for his own sick purposes.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I'm really glad to hear that there's so many resources available, especially the ones that you mentioned for like younger kids, because those with the games are really engaging for them, and they're sure gonna learn a lot.
We have also a
from playing this.
mascot in the National Cybersecurity Directorate. It's a small squirrel, and it's called Dennis. I didn't thought about bringing it with me, but we will share it with you.
We can put a picture.
Yes,
we'll
I
find
think
one,
we have
yeah.
a picture online. Yes, we had it in our conference in the Kids Corner for our national conference last year, and we'll have it this year too. We hope now a bigger format, so everybody will recognize our funny, smart, and energetic squirrel.
Yeah, that's so nice. We're gonna put a picture so everyone can get to enjoy the squirrel. Yeah. So AI is obviously
the buzzword.
yeah. In the past like couple of years, it's pretty much everywhere. And we see companies and well, especially companies trying to implement AI and features that they provide. So I'm curious, how does AI fit into cybersecurity? Because I think that there might be some threats that AI brings to cybersecurity, like deep fakes.
Yeah, I mean, it's like AI, like every other tool. It's just a tool. It has two sides. It can be used for good or for bad.
Oh, yeah.
So don't think that we don't use AI in order to defend us. So we do it too. Like the criminal use it to attack us, we use it to defend us. Actually, one of the threats that we found recently in AI is that AI learned to lie.
Oh.
So this is something that you should take into account when you use the AI application, because AI rather learned not to say I have no clue. They invented things.
Wow.
Like it's this quotation. You ask him, tell me something about Napoleon and what he did in somewhere. I just quote person, and because he doesn't have an answer in this database, or his database was dirty, happens. He just invented something. Wow, and you have to double check it. So don't always believe what ChatGPT tells you or other AIs. I mean, I encourage you to use it, please. You have to work to learn to work with AI, but they can deliver lies, and they also, if you use AI generated softwares, most of the time it has also flaws. So it's not perfect. Yes, but for deepfake, yes, it can get better. The recommendation there would be look on how the face move, the mouth move, the hands move. It's not always perfect yet, but the language is becoming better. There has no flaws. So now we can say, if it's too perfect, maybe it's AI. It's not a human, because humans are not perfect, and it's beautiful that we are not perfect and we are not all the same. So yes, it can be used for good and bad. We use it too. So don't think we don't. Otherwise, we couldn't, let's say, interpret and use all the data that we get. It's about tons and tons and tons of millions of data, a signal every day that we get with automatic machines. So we use AI to filter the relevant one. It's why when you see a cyber incident, most of the time you have sensors. Don't imagine it's machine, but let's say a sensor that is a software, and if it's something that it's not normal or out of the normal, like usually from your computer you send emails that are, I don't know, a couple of K and suddenly it's 2 giga, then it's abnormal. And then somebody will look into it and say, hey, maybe it's not normal. Maybe it's somebody else that exfiltrates data from your system, not you yourself. And this is the sensor pick it, and then the AI system throw it out, tested it, and sort it out, and then a person will look into it.
Yeah, I can imagine without AI it would have been so much harder, just because, as you mentioned, you get tons of data. And
yes, I mean it's a tool. We use it, and I'm looking forward. I mean, for me personally, I'm looking forward to talk to the whales and to the dolphins. I think we're going to use AI to understand their language. So I'm kind of looking into that for the future. And also, I saw yesterday an AI generated translation of an old Roman text that couldn't be read before because it was in carbon, and it was also translated. So it was an Epicurean something. But it was really interesting to see that you can use AI also for something that is out of technology, very not normal, and kind of nice in other areas.
That's it's amazing.
It's a
what
different
AI
world.
Can do.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think it's amazing what people can do using AI, because AI on itself, it's not like I know, iRobot from Asimov. It's not yet there. It's just the software.
Yeah, it's important for us to learn how to work with AI, as you've mentioned, so that we can be better.
You cannot study and you cannot live in the future without knowing how to work with it. Yeah. It's a tool. You have to use it. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
I don't encourage plagiarism, to be honest. But
no.
I think the hardest thing is to ask the right question and to understand that the answer is correct.
Yeah, that's for sure important.
And it helps.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So I was wondering, AI is, as I said, an emerging technology, but are there any other emerging technologies in the field of cybersecurity that, you are excited for? That
I'll give you an example for something that was in the news 2 days ago. I think it's nice. We had an attack, a DDoS attack, that was generated by 3 million toothbrushes. I found out that there exist toothbrushes that are connected to the internet and to your phone, and they tell you how to wash your teeth, and they were used in the DDoS attack. So a flaw in the toothbrush software give an attacker the possibility to use all the toothbrushes to attack a website, and they succeeded. So it's not a technology that makes me, happy, but it's something that can can happen. And till that moment, I didn't imagine that toothbrush. Okay, let's say IoT device, a device that is connected to the internet, can be used also for bad things.
Yeah, that is.
So maybe one piece of the advice is go home, make a list of all the devices that are connected to internet and see if they are secure. Because if you go home, you realize that you have a robot mopper, you have maybe an Alexa or a Google Home or something that you talk with, your sound box is connected online, your PlayStation is connected online, your toothbrush is connected online, or who knows, whatever other device. I know a meteor station, it's rather something very common to have it online connected to read the weather, or a bell, a web camera, some games, some toys have cameras. You have maybe a baby brother that the parents also use online connected. And just naming a couple of you realize how many you are already using in your own home. And each and every one of it can be a flaw, can be used to hack your personal data, to get into your privacy, to every laptop now has a web camera. And I suppose every one of you knows that this web camera has to be closed physically.
Yeah.
So just if you doesn't have another device from the production, just put a piece of paper in front of it. And don't let it open all the time, because then you will be surprised if somebody will have photos with you wandering around the house for hacking you in real life. And it's possible, and it's not even hard to do.
Yeah, that's it's insane to even think about all these possibilities that
Yes.
we have of being, as you mentioned, like the toothbrushes. And I assume it was like a shock for a lot of people in the industry that
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, well, I think I know the answer, but I want to know more about it. Is this industry that like unpredictable? And if so, how do you handle the challenges? Because I'm sure
I think it's lovely to work in the developing industry. It's something new. It's new for everybody. I mean,
yeah.
okay, even if you say, okay, I do cyber for 10 years or 15 years, it's still new. Somebody do literature for 2,000 years. So in this comparison, it's dynamic, it's vivid, it's nice to work with. There are a lot of jobs for young people that have coding experience, for people that don't have coding experience, for people that know social engineering, for people. There are so many jobs that are connected to cybersecurity and will be connected to cybersecurity. If somebody study law, it's a whole place with law in cybersecurity. Or if you study, I don't know, sociology or I wouldn't say zoology, but who knows? I mean, at some point,
It's everywhere.
we have trackers on the dogs, But it's a lot of jobs that you can find a lot of jobs in cybersecurity. I can guarantee one thing: it's not going to be boring. So it's a challenge to find the people. So it's always the market is always better for being the person that is going to find a job. It's not always in all the other cases. So take into account that there is a career for every one of you in cybersecurity. I'm also happy that starting this year we'll have the National Olympics in cybersecurity. So we invite you to participate. It will be a nice competition in that you can test your knowledge. It's very practical. It's a capture the flag competition, so it will be different a little bit than the Olympics that you know. Just to train yourself and see, just to dip in a different field.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear. I know a lot of kids would love to have the opportunity, and now that they had previous competitions, but this one has more, I guess, like advantages in some ways.
It gives you a little bit of other benefits. It's not that it's not in competition with other competitions.
Oh, yeah, no, it's
it's giving you the possibility to get into the national team, and I think it's great to be in the national team and fight for Romania. It also gives you maybe a shortcut to universities, because I'm sure the universities will fight. And I must say, we also hire people that doesn't finish yet the university. There are also positions that are open for young students that can work with us at that point. And the directorate is an amazing place to work. It's so many people from so different backgrounds, all the ages, all the let's say perspectives. It's fun.
It really sounds like such a lovely environment, just because it's, as you mentioned, like you never get bored.
I'm not the youngest of them. I think I'm the oldest, one of the oldest in the team, but I feel very, very energized by my team.
So you mentioned the Olympiad, and this kind of leads me to my next question. I'm just wondering, what advice would you have for, I guess, fellow high schoolers or middle schoolers that might be listening to this, and how should they know that they are fit for this job, I guess, for this industry?
My best advice would be, first of all, study science. I think there is nothing that cannot be done if you know science. Okay, I'm a little bit biased because I have a background in math, but I think science are relevant, even if it seems that they don't have use. They they teach you how to think, they teach you logic, and from there, open your eyes and find something that you are passionate about. And if you are passionate about what you do, you'll do it good. So maybe you're passionate about music, great. But we have a lot of music instruments are not only analog, they are also electronic. Somebody could hack even that, if you go into extreme. But the people with music mind are quite good in seeing patterns. And in cyber, patterns are relevant. So you would be surprised if you have somebody with a musical background that works for a cyber company, but it happens. So many skills get into, so many ways to get into cyber that even now we cannot imagine. But yes, study science, do what you like and do it good. I mean, find passion about it. And I'm really passionate about supporting girls to do science. I think it's such a nice place to be as a girl. I think it's harder to be the only man in the room. It's easier to be the only woman in the room, even if it's hard.
Yeah, I understand that, and that's amazing. And I'm sure a lot of kids are gonna look into it now after listening to this podcast.
I mean, and you could call us. I mean, if you're passionate about it, just give us an email, send us a text. We have an emergency number where you can report if something odd is happening to you.
Yeah.
1911. It's our emergency number, 24/7. Somebody will pick your request. But please don't call the number if you want just us coming to your school and speak about cyber. Then write us an email. I will give the contact data so you can share it with your colleagues.
Of course.
And somebody from our team will try to find the way to accommodate everybody. So if it's not us, then maybe a volunteer from a company will come. So we try to do as much as possible to be with you, because we learn from you so much.
That's great to hear. So thank you. Now we're reaching the end of our podcast, and I have one more question.
Please.
I'm just curious. Obviously, there are a lot of ethical considerations that go into cybersecurity. Is that hard to tackle, the ethical considerations of cybersecurity?
I think per se we are all wired to be good, not to be bad.
Yeah.
So in the end, we have a lot of criminals that use people, technologies, to do bad things, to attack. It's nice to be on the other part to defend, but we have to also understand how they think.
Yeah.
Ethical, we speak about safe coding, ethical hacking. But just remember, ethical hacking is still a hacking. So many ethical hackers come from converted non-ethical hackers. So there is always a path back, and but it's better not to go on this path. It's better to start directly with penetration testing and ethical hacking. And I think to even coming to your EI, I think even EI needs values, and the discussion about values is relevant even in this cyber field or IT field. It's something that we don't often do in schools. Also, we don't do it in public space. But if you look on how EI is shaped in different parts of the planet, you'll see that in some part of the planet, it's driven by profit, a lot. In other parts of the planet, it's driven by control. We are in our part of this world, we are in Europe. Europe is based on values.
Yeah.
It's based on freedom, it's based on respect, it's based on equality. And also, I would say it's sometimes in its fiber, it has some Christian values that value the persons, the human being. And so our AI will look different if you allow us to develop it, because it will, and if, to be more pathetic maybe, if we don't do it like that, nobody will. So it's your job or your chore for the future to have an AI that is used for good, not necessarily for, not that profit or control cannot be good at some point, but also helping people do something that it's not harming or cannot be used for harming.
That's wonderful to hear, and I hope that in the following years we're going to be able to see that more and more.
I'm really an optimist, so I think we will learn to live with the technology. You're tech native, so it's harder for me or my mother definitely to deal with it, but we're there. And we are loving technology, and we're loving. I'm also loving science fiction, so Please read science fiction. We need more science fiction and not only fantasy.
I'm a fantasy
I
reader,
I read fantasy too. Just to, and maybe it's an example. It's not. We're speaking about different parts of the world. The most sold book in, I think I quote this quite often in China, is a science fiction book. It's called The Three Body Problem. It's on top of the selling list for the last, I don't know, 5-6 years.
Wow.
So it's hard science fiction. Asimov-like science fiction, robots, extraterrestrial things, and so on. The most sold book in this world in that we live. Do you know what it is? On top?
I would say Harry Potter.
It
maybe?
is. You're right.
Oh, okay.
It's Harry Potter. So on one part we have science, on one part we have magic. I love fantasy. Magic is beautiful, but we have to avoid the point in that science and technology is magic because you don't understand it.
Oh,
So science and technology has to be understood because we work with it. It's sometimes so complicated that it seems it's magic, but it's not. So we love to dream. We love to read dragons. I do too. The Fourth Wing and the follow-up. So I was there. I'm going through that even if it doesn't seem so. But we also need to understand technology. So don't lose the joy of solving problem. It's so nice to solve a problem. It's so nice to take something into pieces and be able to put it together, or put it together in a different way.
That's really, really true. And thank you so much. I'll definitely look into that book, The Three Body Part Problem.
I think they also look into a movie or something, but it's a hard mathematical problem to solve, the three body problem. So yes,
it will be interesting. Definitely different from what I usually read.
It's translated in English, so you can read it for sure.
Yeah, that's great. So thank you so much
for
coming to
me
my podcast. It was such a lovely discussion, and I definitely have learned more about cybersecurity, and I'm really happy. And it was a really nice talk.
Thank you a lot. And just an advice: change your password today. That would be a good advice for ending it. It's in spring we clean everything.
Oh yeah.
Let's start spring with cleaning our passwords.
Yeah, it's already hot outside, so it's time. Thank you so much.
Thank you a lot.